Hello and welcome back to another video, and today I actually have a different type of video for you guys. I'm going to be showing you guys my mill goat deck profile. This is a goat format deck profile for a very old format, one of the most popular formats in Yu-Gi-Oh! So this does not apply to the current metagame. The cards that it says are limited and banned, stuff like that, they are not in goat format, and so on. So all of this is completely legal in goat format specifically, which is a very old format of like 2005, 2006 type era. Very fun format, and this is actually the deck that I used to play with it. I play goat format all the time online on Dueling Book, and in real life too. I have a goat deck and stuff like that, and so on. And this is actually my second favorite format, right after Tengu Plant format of 2011. That is my all-time favorite format. So if you guys want to see a deck profile of Tengu Plants, comment down below, and I'll be sure to grab you guys in our one. I actually recently picked up an ultimate rare Black Rose Dragon for that, and that looks really nice. Cool, and basically be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get right into the video. So yeah, first off, you're earning obviously the best card in the deck. We have the Cyberjar. Cyberjar is limited, sadly, but it is such a busted card. Basically, you destroy it, nukes the board, and then you can excavate the top 5, special summon the monsters and face down defense, and add the rest to your hand. So even if there are no monsters, you're going +4 because you just popped the Cyberjar. Now, let's say that there are monsters, right? Then you just still go +4 because you summon them, and it's just such a busted card that I personally think it can be better than Pot of Greed in GOAT format. It can be better, and that is why we are earning Cyberjar, especially in a flip deck that's meant to mill your opponent to death as fast as possible. This card is absolutely amazing, especially thinning your opponent's deck by 5 cards immediately. And speaking of thinning your opponent's deck by 5 cards, Needleworm is a very good card in this deck. Basically, on flip, it sends the top 5 cards of your opponent's deck to the graveyard. And this also synergizes with this card right here, the Shallow Grave, but we'll get into that later. This is one of the best flip monsters in the deck once again, and that is why I'm running 3. Now, next up, I have Triple Heroes Shadow Scout. Now, Heroes Shadow Scout may not seem like a good card because it says flip, your opponent draws 3 cards. Both players look at the cards. If there are any spell cards among them, discard all those to the graveyard. Now, that may look really bad, but by giving them 3 cards, you're thinning their deck by another 3 cards. And in this deck, every card matters because you're trying to thin them as fast as possible, and giving them 3 cards won't matter. Not to mention, if they happen to mill spells, they just go to grave, which is a really cool thing. And you have information about what they're playing by excavating the top 3 and adding them to their hand. And that is why I'm running Triple Hero Shadow Scout. Very good card, and I would not underrate this card, even though it may seem bad on the surface. Through testing, it has proven to be superb. Next up, we have another amazing flip monster. We have Triple Morphing Jar number 2. This card is busted. It shuffles all monsters into the deck and then excavates cards until you excavated the same amount of monsters, and then summons all the monsters that are level 4 or lower that you sent, and it can be in face down defense position, which is really good because basically everything is flip effect monsters, and that synergizes with Tsukiyomi. Not to mention the fact that Morphing Jar number 2, I've seen my opponent mill 12 plus cards when they shuffle back like 2 or 3 monsters because they just keep on milling spells and traps, and you're just thinning their deck so much with this card. It's definitely by far Cyberjar, Needleworm, Morphing Jar number 2, Hero Shadow Scout. These are some of the best monsters in the deck by far. But Morphing Jar number 2, this card should not be slept on. Next up, we have Morphing Jar. We have number 2, so we have also, number 1. Both players discard as many cards from their hand as possible, then each player draws 5 cards. You can easily plus off of this to refresh your hand, and of course, loop basically your opponent's entire hand into the graveyard, and then thin their deck by another 5 cards, which is really good. So we do have the 1 Morphing Jar. Next up, we have the Triple Spear Cretin. Spear Cretin is probably the worst flip effect monster in the deck, by my opinion. When it's when it's sent to the graveyard after being flipped, each player can choose 1 monster from their graveyard and special summon it in face down defense position or attack position. So this card is kind of underwhelming. This is the one card I would consider cutting. It's still mandatory though. That's why we are running 3. But like, If there's a card I had to cut, I would cut this card, but I still run it because it is still technically good in the deck. But yeah, definitely the worst out of the flip effect monsters that I have in the deck, but also at the same time, it is still pretty good, so we are running 3. Next up, we have double Tsukiyomi. Tsukiyomi is busted, being able to flip cards you control, and opponents, obviously, if you really want to do that. But, like, you can flip your own monsters and just loop their effects and stuff like that by flipping them back up, you know. Just really, really good. Tsukiyomi is a very, very good card in the deck and a mandatory 2 of. Next up, you have Double Magician of Faith, which adds back a spell card in our graveyard. We are running a significant spell lineup, so yeah, definitely Magician of Faith helps with it a lot. The one Sangan, Sangan is obviously very, very good. It searches basically everything in the deck, which is really busted, and that is very self-explanatory. So that is it for the monsters. Onto the spells. We have triple Book of Moon. Book of Moon is really, really good because obviously just booking your own monster is just as powerful as booking your opponent's, and especially in this deck where you can just loop effects once again by booking your own card in your opponent's end phase or something, just flipping your turn and stuff like that, booking your opponent's card when they're about to attack, stuff like that. And priority does exist here, so it's a bit worse, but it's still such a good card and a very impactful card overall. So triple Book of Moon, we have the one card destruction. It serves in thinning our opponent's deck once again. I find that I win every single deck duel I play with this deck because it's so efficient at what it does, and card destruction just helps it a lot, and it's a really fun card to be playing inside of it, especially because it can basically stack your graveyard with monsters for the shallow grave. But yeah, next up we have Graceful Charity, obviously one of the best cards ever released. You draw 3 cards and discard 2 cards. Very easy to understand why this card is awesome. Now you may be thinking, wait, it's just a 3 for 3 because you have Graceful Charity and you're discarding 2, so that's 3 cards and you're drawing 3. So why is it good? Because you get to choose what you discard, and there are cards that work with it, and it's just such a good card. Never sleep on Graceful Charity. It's so good. Pot of Greed. Yeah, I'm not even gonna go over that. Pot of Greed. Next up, we have double level area, level limit area B. A lot of people in GOAT format are running a lot of level 4 monsters, and changing them to defense position is actually super impactful for them not being able to attack over your monsters. So yeah, double level limit area B. We have the one Swords of Revealing Light. Swords of Revealing Light obviously also blocks our opponent's attacks, which is really, really cool because we don't want to get rid of our monsters so fast. You want to loop them with Tsukiyomi and stuff like that. So Swords definitely does help. Triple the Shallow Grave. The Shallow Grave obviously revives the monster in face down defense position, and you are allowed to flip it after it's summoned, I believe. And so that's really good because then you can activate a bunch of effects, and these effects are just so good. So triple the Shallow Grave. Next up, we have double Gravity Bind. Once again, for the same reason, you don't want your opponent attacking your monsters, and Gravity Bind helps with that quite a bit. So double Gravity Bind. The one Mirror Force for literally the same reason as these cards right here. Once again, it also cheeses your opponent like a lot, which is really, really fun to do. Next up, you have triple Solemn Judgment. Judgment your opponent, annoy them, Judgment their flip summon. It's just a really, really good card in GOAT format. And next up, we have a tech over here. We have Spell Shield Type 8. And basically, when a spell card is activated that targets a monster on the field, it negates activation and destroys it. Now, you may be wondering why the card is good. It is good because of a specific card called Nobleman of Crossout, which is a very, very popular option in GOAT format, which basically targets a face-down monster on the field and destroy that card, the target. And if you do banish it, then if it was a flip monster, each player reveals their main deck, then banishes all cards from it with that monster's name. Now, you may see how it might be a problem for us if they hit like our flip effect morphing draw number 2, banish it, banish all copies, or a needleworm, or anything that we kind of want to have, which is really, really annoying. So basically, Spell Shield Type 8 is really good in the deck because it negates that specific card, and of course a lot of other cards, but like it's surprising how much people run this card. It's really astonishing. And finally, we have double Wall of Revealing Light because once again, we do not want to get our monsters attacked. It's annoying because like you want to keep your monsters, and these cards just help prevent your opponent destroying your stuff. And that's why we're running 2 Wall of Revealing Light. It's not limited, it's at 2. So yeah, enjoy that. And that is basically it for the deck profile. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you did, be sure to smash the like button. We are doing videos with the face camera up 500 subscribers. So stay tuned for that. That is all for today. I hope you guys have enjoyed. And if you did, once again, smash the like button. Comment down below if you guys want to see that Tengu Plant deck profile, and I will get that to you immediately. And this is your boy SpartaKing signing out. Alright guys, peace.